WSMV 4 News at 10 starts now with this breaking news alert.
Breaking here at 10 o'clock tonight, people taking to the streets across the country to protest the death of Tyre Nichols. Just hours ago, the city of Memphis released more than an hour of video of officers beating Nichols in the moments leading up to his death. Now, we have reviewed it all here at WSMV 4. In just a few minutes, we're going to break down what that video shows. But first, we do want to go to Memphis tonight. Protesters are marching downtown. They are blocking traffic. Our Marius Payton has been there all day, all evening long. He joins us now live from Memphis. So what is the atmosphere like, Marius, in Memphis tonight?
Well, Tracy, you are seeing the aftermath of the protest that took over the Arkansas Bridge. It stopped traffic moving in both directions, and these protesters did so in the name of Tyre Nichols. They are demanding systemic change to Metro's police department. They say they're doing this with the hopes of never again seeing another deadly encounter with law enforcement. His name is Tyre Nichols. That's what the protesters who took over the Arkansas Bridge in Memphis want the world to know. He is why they're here, and they want to be heard.
We're out here because you can't ignore us, right? Like Memphis, the city of Memphis cannot ignore what we're doing right now. We are in everybody's way. We are in your face with it. You can't ignore us.
Many of the protesters have yet to see the video released today, but those who had seen it were angry about what they saw.
You taser him, and then one of the black police officers run up to him and start beating him. Why? Answer this question. Why does it take 5 to hold him down? He was already handcuffed. So it takes 5 y'all to come back and stump him in the ground like that? No justice,
no peace. Also on the bridge, mothers who say the video was a call to action to make sure what happened to Tyre Nichols never happens again.
I mean, 5 sons, so I'm sure this hit you hard.
It did. We cried, and it's awful. So I'm out here because I want to support, and it could very well have been my sons.
But I walk and I stand and I march tonight for my sons and my grandsons, because I don't want to see what has happened to that young man. He was crying for his mother. It was so sad. It's really sad. And it made me cry. It's not my son, but it could be tomorrow. So that's why I stand today. I stand with Tyre.
Indeed, moms stand with Tyre. You know, this situation reminds me of another situation that happened when I was here in Memphis back in 2015, where a 19-year-old kid by the name of Darius Stewart was shot and killed by Memphis police officer Connor Schilling. The difference in that case, Schilling was never charged, and I'm sure that's something these protesters remember as they continue their quest for justice. Tracy, we're going to send it back to you.
Marius Payton tonight, thank you so very much. Now, these protests come after the city of Memphis released video of Nichols' encounter with police that night. WSMV4's Courtney Allen went through the video minute by minute tonight. So, Courtney, lay it out for us. What did it show?
Well, Tracy, there are 4 different videos. 3 are from body-worn cameras. The 4th is a pole cam or aerial shot. We are not showing the video in its entirety because it's too graphic. But here is how the initial traffic stop began.
Get your ass, blow the Get the up. Damn, I didn't do anything. Hey, I didn't turn your All right.
Those officers push Nichols to the ground, tell him to put his hands behind his back, and threaten to tase him. Listen to Nichols here.
Hey, you guys are really doing a lot right now.
Bro, lay down.
I'm just trying to go home.
Lay down.
Within seconds, Nichols gets up and runs. Officers tase him, but he gets away. The next video is the pole video that shows what happened once other officers caught up with Nichols. Officers beat him in the video. I counted him getting punched 6 times, hit with a baton 3 times, kicked 3 times, and slapped once. At times, you can see officers holding Nichols down while others kicked him. Now, showing a still image from this. The video does not show Nichols fighting back. He was on the ground for much of it. I hear him scream for his mom 5 times. After several minutes of this, police drag him and sit him upright against the patrol car, while officers, I counted 11, walk around and talk about what happened laughing at times. The officers tell each other in the video that they think Nichols is high and claim he was cutting through oncoming traffic. That's why they say he was pulled over. Now back to the video of that initial stop. One of the original officers here who pulled Nichols over later showed up to the second scene and told officers there that he got Nichols out of the car during this traffic stop, asked him if he was good, and said Nichols started swinging. That is inaccurate based on the video we saw of the traffic stop. It's also worth noting that in one of the body-worn videos, the camera is pointed to the sky for more than 6 minutes. At one point, you can see the officer's hands move the camera upward, but it is not clear if it was intentional. 24 minutes pass before an ambulance appears on camera to take Nichols away. Tracy.
Wow, what a report. Thank you very much, Courtney Allen. Now tonight, after the video was released, the Shelby County Sheriff's Office announced 2 of their deputies are being relieved from duty pending an investigation. They appeared on the scene after the beating. In the video, while officers hit and kick Nichols, you can hear him, as Courtney mentioned, cry out for his mother. This morning, before the video was released to the public, she described the moments she saw her son in the hospital after he was beaten.
When my husband and I got to the hospital and I saw my son, he was already gone. They had beat him to a pulp. He had bruises all over him. His head was swollen like a watermelon. The humanity of it all. Where was the humanity? They beat my son like a piñata.
We're also hearing from Nichols' stepfather tonight. He says when he watched the video, he couldn't believe that officers kept attacking Tyre, even after he was knocked to the ground.
One of the officers pepper sprayed him and was just like, you know, and I mean, how much, enough is enough.
Nichols' family and friends are calling for all protests across the country tonight to stay peaceful, to honor and remember Tyre for who he was and not how he died. Nichols was a father, a photographer, and a skateboarder. His friends say he was energetic, funny, and always lit up a room.
Skateboarding all day and talking about our future and what we want to do with our lives and where we want to be. He was my brother.
Tonight, the 5 former officers charged with murder in Nichols' death are all out on bond. They are due in court in 3 weeks. All 5 officers are facing 7 charges tonight, ranging from second-degree murder to kidnapping to aggravated assault. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who represents the family, says he applauds the way the city has handled this case.
This is the blueprint going forward for any time, any officers, whether they be black or white, will be held accountable. No longer can you tell us we got to wait 6 months to a year, even though we got a video with evidence of the excessive force and the crime.
Before the video was released, we also heard from Blake Ballin, a prominent Memphis attorney representing one of the officers charged with Nichols' murder. He says they intend to plead not guilty.
It looks like somebody crossed a line. The question is, did Mr. Mills cross that line? And I believe the proof will show that Mr. Mills is not one of the officers that crossed that line.
Tonight, Nashville's Fraternal Order of Police is speaking out over the video, saying the officers who beat Nichols failed in their line of duty. In a statement, they say not only have they committed a heinous crime, but they failed their basic obligation to respect the Constitution and sanctity of human life. Under no circumstances are their actions acceptable. These actions are not in any way indicative of our profession, nor of any decent human being. We are confident that the criminal justice system will deliver the justice that Tyre Nichols and his family deserve. Right now, we are tracking protests across the country over Nichols' death, from Memphis to D.C. to New York to Atlanta. Coming up later in the show, we will take you there. And for continuing coverage on the case, you're going to want to download our free WSMV4 News app. You'll be able to find any updates, including a redacted version of that body camera video. We are switching gears now. It is time for us to check on your weather this weekend. We have a topsy-turvy weekend to talk about tonight. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Lisa Spencer. So let's talk about what we can expect, Lisa.
Well, we will be tracking some showers this weekend, but not the entire weekend, which is the good news. I think tomorrow our First Alert Live radar will look just like this for most of the day. It'll be nice, dry, and sunny. We'll have a little breeze out there. We are, though, expecting this next round of showers to come in by the time we get to late on Saturday night and continue right through Sunday. It's going to be a damp one on Sunday for sure. So a dry night tonight. Temperatures have actually been very nice throughout the day today, and tomorrow morning, well, they're going to drop down to 36 degrees with some sunshine to get the day going. By the time we get to 9 o'clock, we'll see 45 degrees. Now, we'll have more on the timeline of that rain and just how warm it will be for tomorrow coming up with the First Alert forecast.
Lisa Spencer, thank you. We have more breaking news tonight. We are learning new information on the Vergne Police sex scandal. WSMV4 has received nearly 400 pages of transcripts from the investigation we first told you about earlier this month. 5 police officers were fired, another 3 suspended for having sex with each other, some while on duty and on city property. WSMV's Brendan Tierney's been going through those documents. So, Brendan, you're here with the very latest details.
Yeah, Tracy, tonight we're getting our first look inside how Vergne City officials uncovered this shocking sex scandal. Documents we received through a records request show many of the officers who were eventually fired repeatedly lied, trying to cover up the relationships. Inside the Vergne Police Department, Officer Megan Hall openly admitted to having sex with other officers that are on her shift, telling the HR investigator, quote, "I mean, we weren't dating," and, quote, "I didn't know I was supposed to report it." As the investigation continued, many of the officers would continue to deny their relationships with Hall, including Officer Lewis Powell. An investigator asking him, quote, "Are you involved in a sexual relationship with Megan Hall?" Powell responded, "No." But as interviews continued and other officers confirmed details, transcripts show some at the center tried to cover their tracks. Like Powell, who told an investigator about a conversation he had with Hall after the investigation started. Quote, "I said, stick to no story." Hall confirming that conversation and going on to tell investigators she worried what honesty would cost her, saying, quote, "I just don't want to bleep up his career and marriage, my marriage." And, quote, "I'm really concerned that what he'll do if he finds out that I've admitted to it." We are still uncovering more details in these hundreds of pages of documents, and we'll have all of those new angles for you throughout the weekend. Right now, over on the WSMV4 News app, you can find everything that we've uncovered so far, as well as all of those transcripts from the interviews. Tracy?
All right, Brendan Tierney tonight, thank you. And stay with us, folks. Still ahead, we're going to court as the state rests its case in the 2020 murder of a Nashville nurse.
In the desperate struggle to find daycare.
We're all just trying to find school for our kids.
These Middle Tennessee families say she took their money and closed up shop.
That's not right.
Now, a judge says this daycare director has to pay families back $20,000. But court records show they haven't seen a dime of it.
You need to give us our money back.
And WSMV4 Investigates has uncovered she plans to open another daycare under another name.
If you're a new parent to Nashville, you have no idea.
The investigation parents need to see Monday at 6.